Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Ecoffee with Experts. I'm your host, Matt Fraser. On today's show, I have a very special guest. We're going to be talking about how to create an epic customer journey with content marketing with none other than Andy Crestodina. Andy is the co-founder and chief marketing officer of Orbit Media, a full-service digital marketing and web development agency headquartered in Chicago, Illinois. He has been in the web design and interactive marketing space since January of 2000. And in that time, he's helped thousands of people do a better job getting results online. He's a true evangelist for content marketing and an ethical digital marketer. He's also written the book, Content Chemistry. And I've looked at it. I'll have to figure out, you'll have to tell me the rest of the tagline of the book. Mm-hmm. But he is also a regular speaker, both locally and nationally. And not only is Andy a founder of Content Jam, Chicago's largest content marketing conference, but he's a regular face on the national circuit. When not wearing his marketing hat, he enjoys scuba diving, playing the piano, traveling, and spending time with his 2 children and wife. Andy, thank you for being on the show. Pleasure to have you here.
Glad to be here, Matt. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, right on. So you've had an interesting journey so far. What were you like in high school?
I moved a bunch as a kid. So I have 2 brothers, which is good because I was kind of introverted and had trouble, acclimating to new schools. I was pretty nerdy, just like the skinniest kid in class, like picked last for every sport. Like
you and me both.
Yeah, not like but I liked what I liked, and I was into board games and role playing games and art, and the things that I liked. I found friends who were also into those things, so I found my group. In the end, but that was we're talking the 1980s now, so this was a while ago. But it's a fun starter question. Basically, like a bookish, nerdy kid with a tight group of close friends.
Yeah, I was kind of the same way, kind of nerdy, and but it's amazing how you and I are doing something as a vocation that didn't even exist when we graduated.
Nope.
That's the amazing thing. It's like in kindergarten, I wrote down we had this time capsule that they were creating when I was in kindergarten. We opened it when I was 24. I invited everybody back, and we had to put all these things in there, and I had to write what I wanted to be when I grew up. And what I wanted to be doesn't even exist anymore. And I have no idea why I chose that. I don't think I chose it because I couldn't think of anything, but it was a milkman.
Milkman.
Yeah, I have no idea why in kindergarten I thought I should be a milkman, but anyway. So that being said, how did you get started in digital marketing? Like, I know you've had a journey, but like, what was the key moment that or event that happened that you're like, yeah, I want to get into web design and learning about the internet and leveraging that for a career?
Yeah. Well, there were no classes in digital anything when I started college. And I was a pretty bad student, didn't know what I wanted to do, and finally figured it out. I got inspired by these foreign language classes I was taking. So I ended up with a Mandarin degree.
Oh, okay.
So getting closer to graduation, I'm like, I need to get a job with this degree. What am I going to do? Okay, I can be a teacher. So I got certified to teach. I was going to be like a secondary ed, like high school teacher of Mandarin.
Yeah.
And then graduated college, went to China, lived in China, came back and decided not to go right into the classroom, instead to see what's happening in business. So I got like a regular kind of desk job. I was a recruiter, but the internet was really getting interesting. This is the late 90s. And I thought, I want to make, just started working on personal projects with my roommate from college and friend from high school. Yeah. And it was interactive. It was like based on Flash. Like we were like building things like interactive comic books, like really fun, weird stuff. And then just got obsessed with this intersection between creative and digital, creative and technical, art and science. And so quit the day job, which was recruiting in the late 90s, was very good. My girlfriend thought I was crazy. Quit the day job, started building websites with him. He'd already been doing it for several years. He's sort of first generation web development. My co-founder and business partner, Barrett Lombardo, has been doing this since like mid 90s.
Wow.
But it was, I just wanted to make stuff. Like my would-be career would have been not milkman, but architect.
Architect.
My grades weren't. I didn't have the background for it. Didn't go to school for that anyway. So I thought this is it. Like it's usable. It has requirements. There's a minor technical aspect to it. So started building websites. January of 2000. Formed Orbit Media. April 2001. Right after launching the very first sites, I realized I need to understand search. I need to understand analytics. This is prior to Google Analytics. And then, so started building in, search optimization to the projects we were working on. Fast forward to like 2005 or 6, I realized I need to understand marketing so that we can get our own clients. We were basically an outsourced partner to agencies back then.
Okay.
And then finally figured it out. 2007, combined the like articles with a newsletter to keep in touch with more people over, with easier kind of autopilot for maintaining connections over a longer period of time. And that kind of kicked off. And that was the convergence at the time of like blogging and content marketing and search and social and email all came together right then.
Yeah.
And then actually then realized, marketing is just teaching. So that's the full cycle, the full circle story is that basically like, yes, this is curriculum development, which you mentioned the book. The book is like a textbook. This is, speaking at conferences is like being a lecturer at a university. So basically realized amazing. So I'm basically a teacher, which was what I was planning to be from the early mid 90s. But just got obsessed with the intersection between art and science, and then ended up building a company that needed marketing, and marketing is in fact mostly teaching.
That's amazing. I never really thought of it that way. That marketing is teaching. You're either like you have a message. Like I'm a student of Dan Kennedy and those things, direct response marketing, but you have a message, medium, and market. So as a teacher, you have a message that you want to teach people about what you do, whether you're a lawyer or whether you're a digital marketing consultant or whether you're a baker or a restaurant owner. You still want to teach people about your business and about why you do what you do and how you do it. So that's very interesting to take that to have that mindset about it.
There are other content strategies, but most content marketing programs are based on practical utility, how-to stuff. So most content programs have a teaching element at their core. Marketing more broadly includes things like advertising, which is, could be storytelling about a brand or other things. But content marketing and content strategy specifically is very much focused on an educational element for almost all content marketers. There's other programs, right? Like you could create a content marketing program that's just based on like strong opinion, or like counter narrative point of view. Like there's other perspectives or just, collaboration with influencers. But mine, like a lot of them I basically, since 2010, have been writing long form, original research, search optimized how-to articles on a giant range of content related topics, and attract like, I don't know, 1.5 million visitors a year, 900 leads a year. It's a $7 million 50-person company with $0 spent on advertising. This is one of those many businesses that's based totally on inbound and content.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing those numbers. You didn't have to, but I have been on your lists, and don't ask me how I got connected to you, but we've been connected on LinkedIn for a long time, like over 10 years. This is the first time we're talking, but it was your content. I was like, man, this is some damn good content. Like I got to follow this guy. I want to be on his list, even though, I was trying to build a marketing agency as well. But it was the content. So what was it? So you realized back when you were still doing this, and you mentioned 2007. That's interesting because that's when I joined Facebook, and it seemed that's when WordPress was like starting to really at the beginning of the curve. Where we are in that now, I have no idea, but that really seemed when Web 2.0, like the publishing sort of deal, and SEO and I mean, although people were doing SEO before that, but it's really seemed like that's when WordPress became more than just it became easier to use, in my opinion. Like, I think that's when around WordPress 3.0 came out, which was, in my opinion, was a game changer. But the point I'm trying to make is in that regard, sorry, excuse my language. I lost my train of thought. You were talking about the content. Yes. And you were talking about making the content. Yes. All the content you started creating. When did you realize that it was the content that was going to make a difference? You know what I mean? Like that.
Great question.
Like that aha moment.
Yeah. Well, I was doing all the sales and marketing because we were like just a tiny firm. I didn't have, these days I have like a CEO and we have management players and like just tons of smart people. But back then it was like, I was just writing proposals all night and doing sales meetings all day. And it was exhausting. We got to 2.2 million without any bigger help with that. So I realized that I was missing opportunities because I wasn't keeping in touch with people.
Okay.
And I needed to keep in touch with cold leads, people who didn't hire us, people who were still in the pipeline over months. It's a long sales cycle. We do web development. I need just past clients. So this was a moment when I realized like, okay, I'm just going to write an article. Yeah. I'm going to post it on our website, call it a blog if you like. I'm going to send a link to that article with a tiny newsletter to this group of really first degree connections, people I've known, people, current clients. It's about 250 people at that time. And then that combination of, an email with a call to action and a blog post on the website. And then later, it just was a way to try to put these contacts on a kind of an autopilot so that I could stay top of mind with them over a longer period. Because seriously, you only need a website like every 4 years. And I need to keep in touch with hundreds, thousands of people over time. I need to stay top of mind with thousands of people to have them think of me in that one moment on that one day when they are ready to redesign. So that was it.
Do you mind? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, then realized like I could optimize these for search, and then realized I could collaborate with influencers organically and just on, just regular contributor quotes, and I could get traction in social media. So it took me a few years after publishing the first one, but it ended up becoming this kind of unified strategy where a piece of content is promoted in search and or social and or email, measured through analytics, iterate. Yeah. And then went from there into the bigger formats, started publishing original research, started a monthly in-house event, started an annual conference, wrote a book, and more recently, a lot of video.
Yeah, that book is a really good book. I've purchased it through Kindle and I've looked at the outline, and it's definitely, I can understand why universities are using it as a textbook. That's for sure. How did you here's the interesting thing is I think personally, and this is from my personal experience, but there's also maybe other people out there who are agency owners who are thinking this as well. Some people struggle with something called the imposter syndrome. And it was Jeff Sauer that wrote an email. I was on his list, still am, and said, "Do you suffer with the imposter syndrome?" was the subject line. And myself, I have invested more money than I care to admit learning about digital marketing, not thinking I knew enough and struggling with the imposter syndrome. So my question is, how did you come up with ideas to write content that you knew about or maybe didn't know about? Like, did you fake it until you make it? You can plead the fifth if you want. Or did you just, a lot of people say you should document your journey as you learn. And if I could go back in time and document everything that I learned as I went, oh my goodness, I think the difference between then and now of many different things would be a lot different. But that's my question is like, how did you, come up with the ideas for content? Like, was it based on keyword research or was it based on the clients you were working with at the time? Or are you just a genius that came up with
No. I think I've never really had a keyword first strategy where I start with a keyword and then decide what to write. Right. I've always been very close to the clients. Marketing is really only like half my job. I spend a lot of time doing sales and doing service. Okay. So I'm always working closely with clients and thinking about what they're asking me questions, and I'm working on presentations and getting ready for a meeting, documenting maybe a procedure that turns into content. Or sometimes there's procedures internally that we have that I can turn into content. But some of the things that have helped a lot is I've always tracked a list of everything I've ever published. Okay. They call it your elbow, your lifetime body of work. Okay. So my lifetime body of work is tracked on a spreadsheet. Wow. And some of those things have gone out of date, but rank well. So those are things that I need to go back and update. So that's using, it's a content strategy that solves some of the topic question, because it's like, wow, I rank really high for this like email sign up form article, and the rank's declining. I need to update that. So a third of my articles are just updates of old articles.
Oh, wow.
So that helps a lot. Another one though, a big one for me was when I created the monthly event. It's an in-house event every month, and it was for 10 years prior to COVID.
Yeah,
and it had like a small group of people who were it was called Wine and Web. It became quite popular, and I had friends who, when they came into town, gave great presentations there. It was just 30 people max in that conference room, but it was a small group of people who came every time, and then new friends and invite prospects. But Wine and Web was a place where I would sort of always had this deadline of having a presentation coming up and this pressure to make something good or fail publicly.
Oh,
if you want to push yourself into higher levels of quality, commit to giving a presentation on a topic in 2 weeks. Wow. And you're gonna cram like it's finals week until you've got a very polished, lots of visuals and well-organized presentation. And then that often got repurposed into content, or content got repurposed into Wine and Web presentations. And then I got so much practice, and I give, I don't know, like 100 presentations a year, webinars and live events. I got so much practice giving presentations, again, teaching, that I had some very highly rated presentations at conferences, and I have lots and lots of very polished decks, and was frequently invited back. So it's like in September, this will be my, I think, 9th year presenting at Content Marketing World. I've presented at Marketing Profs B2B Forum 7 times. I've been Social Media Marketing World 6 times. I'm kind of one of the usual suspects at these events, which again creates more pressure for more quality. Oh no, Content Marketing World's coming up. I got to make something new.
Yeah.
This feedback loop of, presentations informing articles, clients driving topics, testing out things in smaller groups or formats, and then improving them for bigger groups.
Do you test new content ideas on, like, I don't think you would risk doing new things on a client's website. Like, do you test new things on test websites or personal project websites? Like, you don't have to reveal anything. I mean,
no. This is mostly like content strategy topics. But there are lots of things that we try. So when we try something on a client's website, it's obviously they're approving it. So we're not, this is not like pure experiments, but like we'll learn things from clients that I can then publish. For example, we do a lot of A/B tests. Get Started is an outperformer more often than not. Like, get a demo, request a demo, try it now, contact us. Wow. Get Started seems to win in a lot of these tests. Yeah. So, hey, I'm going to share that. I want to teach that. I want to tell people that. I'm going to publish that, or email sign-up forms. It's like a lot of email sign-up forms say, like, sign up for updates. That's terrible. I think that's a lazy thing. Yeah. Why do people do that? It doesn't make a promise. So there's best practices and things that we've formed from our own work. We do 55 sites a year that get driven into our content, where I'm able to teach things like good and bad ways to do testimonials. I can tell you a lot about how to do a good testimonial, better or worse. So that's the being very close to actual client work. Plus, I have access to 500 analytics accounts. Yeah, I can tell you. So in a few days, I'll be publishing an article about GA4 engagement rates. I can tell you right now, based on 60 websites we've installed it on, what an average, what a good engagement rate is. The answer is, this is a draft piece. It's not live yet. By the way, Jeff Sauer is in this article. I got a contributor quote from him. You just mentioned him.
Oh, wow. I want to have him on the show.
The average GA4 engagement rate is 55%.
55%.
Yep. I know that because I have access to tons and tons of client accounts.
Wow.
So that's helpful too.
That is, isn't it? Mm-hmm. There's so many questions going through my mind that I can ask you. But I think, instead of going back, I'll ask you this question. You are a content marketing expert. There's no doubt about it. You're probably one of the best in the world. One of the things you mentioned in your book about content chemistry is writing content. I wish I don't have it in front of me right now. Sorry. but it's writing
I should
content.
send you a copy. The Kindle version is the worst for that book, by the way. It's a beautiful printed piece. So I love that you got the Kindle. I should send you a printed copy because it's so much better of an experience. It's the illustrated handbook for content marketing. It's filled with charts. Kindle's pretty rough. I don't recommend the Kindle. The new edition we're not going to make on a Kindle.
Okay, there you go, everyone. Don't buy the Kindle version. I just have a Kindle, and I find it so easy to read the books. My reading. The amount of books that I read now has gone up tremendously because of having a Kindle. But
I understand
Kindle. What you're saying. So yeah, I would love to have that. I guess the question is, you talk about, and this is interesting, and I'm so glad I'm talking about this here. You talk about creating content for the customer journey, and that is, we could talk about that, I'm sure, for 3 hours. What is the process for, let's say, and if I could use an example just to give you an idea for context, like let's say there's a renovation company, home renovation company, and they're launching. What would be your process for taking them through the adventure, or whatever, the process of creating a content for the journey that the customer is going to go on? If I could be more specific, let's say kitchen renovations. Just
great
idea
topic.
What? Yeah.
Now I'm excited. As soon it's like a kid with a ball. It's like, okay, you gave me a topic, you gave me a business. Like, this is an idea. I love it. Okay, so I strongly believe that optimization and customer journey and digital marketing generally should begin at the end of the visitor's experience.
Oh, okay.
So although it would seem to make sense to start with the top of the funnel, I'm going to go backwards because I think going backwards is a better chance to get a better result. So the bottom of the funnel, the goal is to bring the visitor to a thank you page. That's the moment when they just contacted you. So we'll go up from there. The contact form. The contact form should be another chance to reinforce that you're legit. Contact form page, the page with the contact page can mention the number of projects, the number of professionals, or the experience in the region or area. Could have a face of the person you might talk to. Now move up. Call to action that brings people to the contact form. I mentioned get started. You could also just say, chat with a kitchen expert, chat with a designer, share your ideas with a designer. These might increase the click-through rate from the call to action to the contact form. Now go up one more step. The service page. What's the page on which they are, excited to click the call to action? Well, this is a very visual thing. It should have a lot of, probably there's just tons and tons of galleries. If I don't see, and my spouse or partner doesn't see a picture we like, we're not that likely to click the call to action. If I'm a modernist style, I like, this certain aesthetic, and everything that I see there is heavy and dark wood, then I'm not likely to convert. I'm going to keep looking until I see something I like. Same as web development. Nobody's going to fill out your contact form until they've seen something that they think looks interesting in your portfolio. So these pages are going to be basically portfolio pages with tons of galleries and photos. That's going to be a key decision criteria for this visitor. Also, so now moving up, how do I attract the person to that page? That page or a different page on the site would have to be kind of keyword focused, likely, hopefully, to attract visitors who are looking for, Alberta kitchen remodeling, whatever the phrase.
Let's say Chicago kitchen remodeling.
Chicago kitchen remodeling. Now, I'm not going to target that key phrase unless I believe I have a realistic chance. I'm an SEO. I'm going to look up my chance of ranking based on my level of authority. Is the keyword difficulty far beyond reach for me? Or are the other pages that rank in the same level of authority as me? If you're not doing that, if you're not answering that question, you're not doing SEO. It's a mistake to target key phrases for which you have a 0% chance of ranking. So that page is going to be very deep. So assume that I do, and that I'm a business that's been around for a little while. I have sufficient authority to rank for that phrase or a similar niche phrase. Chicago modern kitchen remodeling, something more specific, less competitive. Maybe I've got 6 of these, right? I'm going to build a little sitemap with lots of these entry points. So now I'm sort of moving up into the middle of the funnel. So these pages are going to attract the visitor. They're going to have long form text. They're also probably going to start answering the top questions. This visitor is happy to disqualify me because they see 10 million options wherever they came from. So I don't want to be disqualified. I want to address their objections. What does this person care about? I don't know this unless I've interviewed a bunch of clients and talked to the top sales reps. And I know this is conversion rate optimization, right? This is making sure that these pages are going to answer the visitor's top questions and address their top objections.
Yeah.
So how long does it take? Is it a mess? Do I have to move out? How much does it cost? Are there payment plans? Is this, what if I've got ideas? Can you work with my contractor? What if I got, I want to, my uncle does this, or I've got pictures, or my house does, I want to do half now and half later, or this kitchen isn't even there yet. It's part of new construction. Can you work, 11 things, right? The page has to explain those, or the visitor will leave. Every website has the same back button. Okay. So now I've got a search optimized, conversion optimized sales page. That's all lovely, right? I'm middle of funnel down, and I probably can generate leads just with that. Yeah. But since we're in the journey process, and your question, Matt, I love it. I'm going to go up a level to the top of funnel. Content marketing. How can I become a kind of a famous brand? How can I attract an unreasonable number of visitors and really make my competitors irrelevant by having a body of work that is exhaustive on the topics and has, trends, design styles, questions about price, what are our supply chain issues affecting that? I'm going to build a content strategy that has lots of resources and articles that are for the information intent visitor.
Yeah.
Everything I talked about so far was about the commercial intent visitor. They need a kitchen. That's why they came to the site. But if I'm to build out top of funnel and to grow my links, I can rank for more competitive phrases, grow my following. I can get lots of organic traffic from social. To grow my email list, I can decouple myself from Google and Facebook and eventually own my own list, have access to my own audience. For that, you need top of funnel content. You need a content strategy. That content strategy would be based on a mission statement, something like, we are where, homeowners get inspired for great kitchen ideas with a weekly video and image gallery, something like that. Wow. Right? It's going to be something fun. And so these are my, so now I went from the very bottom, thank you page, contact form, call to action, search optimized service page, conversion optimized, galleries, images, and then moving up the funnel toward the top, which is in truth optional. Lots of companies succeed without a content program, but you cannot succeed without you can't succeed in digital marketing, at least, without pages that answer questions, address objections, rank for the commercial intent key phrase, and attract something, unless you're advertising. And then attract, convert visitors into leads. Traffic times conversion rate is success, and demand, anything times 0 is 0. So I'm equally focused on both traffic and the conversion rate. I'm a dual threat marketer, right? It's about the success of the cheese and the mousetrap. You can't have one and you can't win without both.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for sharing that, by the way. I know that was of tremendous value to our audience.
Fun example.
Just think about, What about at the top of the funnel? I think I mentioned earlier, I'm a student of Dan Kennedy. He always talks about using lead magnets. And I don't see a lot of marketers. I heard a direct response radio advertisement for a plastic surgeon, cosmetic surgeon here in my city one time. And I knew it was Dan's stuff. And lo and behold, I found him on Dan's site. And not to talk that up too much, but I knew that he was using a lead magnet. So what about, in your experience, are lead magnets a valuable tool? HubSpot, they're bloody brilliant. Like, they have their resource page and there's all these different resources that you can opt in. And coming back to that, would it be like a prudent thing or a valuable thing to offer a kitchen innovation checklist as a lead magnet at the bottom of all of those blog posts in order to get people to opt into something of unique value, to get people to opt into your email list at the top of the funnel?
Probably that. I think the idea is to move them from the top to the middle.
Yeah.
If the person gives you their email address, they're more engaged. You can reach them directly. You can market to them directly. It's disintermediation. Google and Facebook are no longer in between you and this audience.
Yeah.
So that's lovely. Marketing automation, you mentioned HubSpot. Marketing automation is almost completely based on this idea.
Yeah.
I don't think there almost is no marketing automation without a lead magnet, without growing the list. But having said that, again, we have between 1 million and 1.5 million visitors a year, 900 leads a year, 7 million in revenue, 0 advertising, 50 employees. I've never used a lead magnet.
Well, there you go.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
You can crush your goals without it. Trust me. It's not required. I don't use any marketing automation. These are optional. You can do it you don't need a lot of technology to do anything I described for that kitchen remodeling company. None. Yeah. You need a tool to deliver the email, and you need a content management system. Of course, you also need analytics.
Yeah, analytics.
There's no other technology required to do that, what I described. But no, Lead Magnet is certainly effective at growing email lists.
Yeah.
The effectiveness depends on that call to action. Do I see that as valuable? What is it offering me? Is it worth trading my email address for? And by the way, I've done research on this. Visitors really don't mind giving their email address for high value. Marketers are very sensitive about this. Like, no, Lead Magnet is super annoying. I feel like a jerk. I'm like a spam. No, visitors will happily give you their email address if what you're offering has real utility.
Okay. So if it like Mark Joyner talked about how he wrote a book on it, The Irresistible Offer. Like you need to give tremendous value and have an irresistible offer, even if they're just giving their email address. Here's a question. Mm-hmm. What have been your studies then on that regard with just what has been the difference in conversion between just asking for the email address and asking for the first name and email address? Is it dramatic?
Oh, it's not my research, but I've seen research on this. There's no difference.
No difference.
There's not. Yeah. I mean, the person giving you've already reached that plateau of trust. If they're giving you their email address, giving you their name, there's really not much difference between 1 and 2 field forms.
Okay.
Unbounce, I think, might have done that. A two-field form is inevitably an email address and a first name. So there's been research, Marketo or somebody did it's like how do the number of form fields correlate with conversion rates? And 1 and 2 form fields basically have the same numbers.
Okay. Coming back to the content, are there certain tools and resources that you recommend to use in order to plan all this out? For instance,
go ahead. Maybe. I mean, so to do search, to do SEO, and to validate that you indeed have sufficient authority to target that key phrase, you need a tool.
Yeah.
That you need a tool such as Moz or SEMrush or Ahrefs.
Yeah.
Or there's a couple others.
Yeah.
Majestic. Okay. I don't know. There's a few others. But these tools evaluate your ranking potential, your level of authority, and they show you the authority of the other pages that rank for the phrase and calculate a difficulty score. If your page is in the same range of authority as the other pages that rank for the key phrase, you have a chance of ranking for it.
Yeah.
Drop everything, go all in, spend an extra 8 hours making that thing amazing and answer every related question, incorporate all the semantically related phrases. If your authority level is not within the same range as the other pages that rank for the phrase, forget about search. You're free. You're never going to rank for that. Go write something awesome, and promote it through social and email.
Okay.
So there's no such thing as a thing that's, kind of, a little bit optimized. I'm either trying to make the best page on the internet for the topic because I believe I've got a chance of ranking for it, or I'm just promoting my content in some other way.
Yeah. For instance, go ahead. By the way, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, not every topic is keyword focused. I just put something on LinkedIn. It's like, I had this idea during COVID. I'm going to ask my friends to send me pictures of their desks.
Yeah.
I want to see the camera, the mic. Look at us, right?
Yeah.
What are we using? I've got a Rode pod, you've got the podcast, everyone's got a different thing, right? Yeah. So I had a bunch of marketers, YouTubers, virtual keynote presenters send me pictures of their desk setup, right? Like from that point of view. Highest open rate of all the emails I sent last year, 1,000 shares on social media, 0 traffic from search. Why? Because nobody's searching. No one's searching for that.
No, they're not. That is so brilliant.
Desks. Yeah. Not every topic is a keyword opportunity. So if no one's searching for it, or if you have no chance of ranking for it, please forget about SEO.
Yeah.
Just go make go fill it with influencers and visuals and optimize it for social in other ways. So it drives me crazy. People like, oh, this piece is a little bit optimized. Good luck with that. You're trying to make your only hope of ranking. You have no right to rank unless you made one of the best pages on the internet. So we're not sprinkling keywords in. You're either making like a super long form, super detailed piece, or you're just, you've got, promoted through some other channel.
Well, that's amazing that you brought that up, because by the way, I saw your post and I actually took a picture of my desk setup. And I don't know if you saw that or not.
I haven't been on LinkedIn today. Thank you. Well,
I took a picture
social
of my desk and then reposted your article along with the page of the post, along with the picture of my desk. And I obviously, I'm not as influential as you, so I didn't get as much engagement, but I thought it was such a cool thing.
I found it. Okay, so this was my social marketing tactic. By the way, your desk is incredible. That's a lot of pixels. It looks great.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the switcher. This looks really cool. Okay, so my idea there in social media was to trigger conversation by asking a question, right? Or making a suggestion. Share a picture of your desk, right? Like put it in the post or something. You got a ton of reactions here. Anyway, that content was promoted through social media. It has nothing to do with search.
Nothing to do with search.
Disabuse yourself of that idea that everything is a keyword opportunity. It's not.
That's amazing.
Thought leadership, frequently never, strong opinion, innovators, inventors. What's their SEO opportunity? Nobody, you just made something brand new. Yeah. So it's a myth. It's poorly understood. It only takes a few minutes to figure that out. But most people don't go that far with the thinking. Only maybe less than half of my articles are keyword focused, because they're about many things that, for which there was
they're innovative, that there is no keywords for them. People aren't searching for them. And you'll probably rank for those things number one.
But no one's looking for
rank for them anyway, because nobody else is. And you're almost you're creating your own searches. You're creating your own traffic by creating new things that people haven't even thought of. That's brilliant.
You asked me about the history of my own content program. I once did an article that said, this is what a 15-year-old content program looks like. It had a chart that showed exactly how much I'd published in every format over all the years.
Yeah.
When the book was rewritten, I just finished the 6th edition. When we started our conference, it's a big graphic that shows the history of our content program. People loved it, right? It's like showing it's transparent. It's showing a strategy, but nobody's looking for history of content strategy. There's no keyword for it. So I didn't worry about search at all.
So coming to your book, how often, so you're reading the 6th edition now, and I can't wait to read it. I know it's coming out in October. Mm-hmm. So what changes have you seen? What inspired you to come out with another edition in regards to the 5th edition and the 6th edition, and what's different? If you could give us just a little teaser, maybe.
I can't reach it from here, but between editions, I keep my own copy next to me, and I'm always adding to the table of contents and marking where it needs to be improved.
Okay.
So the earlier editions, there's nothing there about influencer marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course not. Yeah.
Now that's a big thing. I mean, there were early editions that talked about Google Plus. That's obviously not a thing anymore. How do we automate social media? That has changed. Keyword focus, click-through rates from search are down. So now I collect screenshots of Google search results pages. Okay. So I have, there's a part of the book now that shows how search has changed and how click-through rates have changed. So this is how many more SERP features appear in search. And so many things have changed. Social media video, that wasn't in the earlier editions. There's a lot of content promotion strategies in there now. Original research, I was hardly doing any of that when I first published the book. Now there's a big section about how to publish and promote original research.
Wow.
So it obviously, to have a book, you have to keep in this category. You got to keep writing it again and again. So I rewrite it like every 2 years.
Would you say that writing a book has been of extreme value, for lack of in regards to establishing you as an authority? And the follow-up question would be, would you recommend other people to make it a goal to write a book? Like not even a marketing digital, like let's say a realtor or a mortgage broker or a lawyer.
People write books without strong strategies behind them.
Okay.
Becoming an author is a passion and life goal for a lot of people. So there's people who begin writing a book without first looking to see if the book would be differentiated, if there's demand for it in the market, how well it aligns with their current audience. So people are creative out of for reasons of passion, and that's awesome. Cool. Go do that. Okay. That's great. But don't set high expectations for that book being, widely, like selling a bunch of copies. So, and my book has a specific goal. It was originally kind of a sales support tool. Have a great meeting, send them a book, more likely to close the deal. Or when you're an author, you're more likely to get booked for big events. So there are some things like that. But also for me, as in many formats for content, the book was partly just opportunistic. So it works like this. Make an outline of everything you know on a topic. It's an awesome intellectual challenge. Literally sit down, open a beer, bottle of wine, and make an outline of everything that you know about digital marketing or whichever, for car dealerships or anything. Now, then go look at your lifetime body of work and ask yourself where there are gaps. Oh, I never wrote about that. I have to, and you will soon find that if you blog into the gaps and keep updated the old things that you've published in the past, that you are gradually writing a book. A lot of people, so I publish 50,000 words a year. So if you can blog into a book by simply having a better content strategy that involves repurposing, about 60% of the book the first time around was repurposed articles. A lot of first edition books now. Yeah. I just listened to James. Yeah, they're books. They're former blogs. James Clear wrote Atomic Habits. First edition, he's talking about feedback from his audience in the book. How does he do that? Oh, because he's been publishing online forever. Yeah. Bloggers are authors. Everybody's an author. It's just the only difference between being a regular blogger and being an author of a book is forethought. You were just more structured and you planned in advance. And so, you kept blogging, and when you got to 80% completion, you paused, stepped back, adapted these articles. Your life, your that outline of everything turned into a table of contents. It's powerful, it's effective, it's a commitment, it takes time. And then if you're self-published, you got to hire an editor, a couple grand, hire a designer, a couple grand, got to go to print, that's another $5,000. But now you're an author. And promote it accordingly. When people search for your name, Google's going to say author. Search for me. You'll see it says author.
Yeah. Is your book self-published? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, I never asked permission. Yeah. No, nothing could have stopped me. I don't need anybody to tell me it's okay to write a book. That's exactly same as blogging, right? Bloggers are not mostly told. Bloggers mostly chose themselves. Yeah. Most content marketers are very entrepreneurial. We were not given the job. We just took the job and did it. Your story the same, right? Yeah. You're like, I got this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Absolutely. Hey, coming up with writing content and coming up with content ideas for me, and I'm not as connected with as many clients, but maybe others as well. Like I sometimes think that some people are more naturally gifted at creating content than others. For instance, I'm just not to promote myself either here, but when I was in grade 3, I was recommended to go to a Young Authors Conference because of a book I wrote back then.
Good for you.
And I've always been a creator, but like I shared earlier, the imposter syndrome held me back from creating content because I didn't want to seem like phony by putting something out there. I wish I'd documented what I was learning rather than trying to establish myself or put myself out there as an expert. That being said, though, there are tools that exist, and I'm going somewhere with this. There are tools that exist now that have come out based on artificial intelligence in regards to creating content. And I'm speaking of tools like Jasper.ai, formerly whatever it's called, whatever Jarvis, they got sued by Marvel, cease and desist order, and Copy.ai, and whatever the case may be. I know there's even one that's even like an enterprise level that's even more expensive than Jasper. I can't remember what it's called. Somebody told me about it. What are your thoughts on, because you talked about the book being updated and there's tools and like influencers weren't out before, and now this is out. And do you have any thoughts to share, good or bad, doesn't matter to me, about the usage and using AI as a tool in order to help create content?
Well, it's not unlike the other answer, lead magnets, not necessary. Okay. Tools, okay. You don't need a lot of technology or tools to do this job.
Okay.
So an idea like that at its heart for sure is totally optional. I feel some misgivings about the whole world deciding we should all use tools to tell us what to write about, because
okay.
Then what are we doing? It's like saying, it's like keyword first strategies. I'm going to find out what people are searching for and then blog accordingly. It's not necessarily audience focused.
I understand.
Those tools don't know who your buyer is, and what conversations you're having during sales or in marketing. If you create a webinar series and have a Q&A session at the end, and you find questions that people are asking, that's your best topic.
Absolutely.
It's not. Analytics is showing you what people engage with on your current site, so you can go deeper into those topics. That's data-driven empathy. I don't know how an AI tool would know what my audience wants from me. And also, I feel there's some risk in us all just using these tools, similar to like Surfer you mentioned, or these tools that just tell you kind of like how to structure content or what to write about.
Yeah.
It might be effective, but what are we really doing here? Is the idea to just make something that, I don't know, it just feels like it's a path to being bland.
Yeah.
And so what works well? Counter narrative positions. In other words, something that challenges the reader's perspective. Is an AI tool going to suggest a topic that challenges readers' perspectives?
Probably not.
Is an AI tool going to suggest a topic that is memorable?
Yeah.
Is the AI tool going to suggest a topic that you have an opportunity to create original research for?
Yeah.
Is an AI tool going to?
Yeah.
These are just you're excluding thought leadership, strong opinion, original research, audience focused things. You're excluding all of the most important sources and powerful formats for content.
Yeah.
So go for it. If you got a big team, you need to delegate. You're a HubSpot. You got 60 marketers, and they need topics. Hey, great. Let's pull some from a robot. If you want to be, remembered as someone who excels in their field by publishing things that are unexpectedly helpful, provocative, useful, detailed, supported with evidence, I can't imagine that an AI script is going to really get you there.
Yeah. And you had mentioned, the post that you shared about the desks, the AI would never come up with that subject.
Yeah, exactly. That was my number one email. Yeah, that was my top performer of every newsletter I sent last year.
Yeah.
And it starts this giant conversation on LinkedIn. People can't wait to take pictures of their own desks.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, I'm going to do this.
So if that day, instead of thinking about what's interesting, quarantine, what are these people all doing with their desks?
Yeah.
If instead of that, I'd gone to like Jasper or some other tool, it would have told me like, TikTok for business. And then I would have written something pretty boring.
Did you then, going the other way, taking courses on writing, like training on writing? Is it just something you've gotten better with as you've gone, Andy? Was it an extension of your higher education that you took in university that you mentioned?
I think one of the things that made me a much better writer was doing a lot of guest blogging.
Okay.
So I did, so for 3 years, most of my content was written for other websites.
Okay.
Which is unusual. I think a lot of people just think that they need to write for their own site. A lot of bloggers just think they have only one place to publish, which is crazy. We should all be writing for lots of websites. If you're doing it well. I just finished a long form article interview for Serpstat. Submitted it, haven't heard back yet. Hope they liked it. But I'm working with an editor now who's going to give me feedback, and working with pro editors will make you a better writer.
Oh, there you go.
Guest blogging is fantastic for your writing because they're going to push back on you to improve quality, to add detail, to cover other related subtopics, to add formatting, like whatever their standards are.
Yeah.
Another one is just doing it a lot. I mean, this is my list, 530 articles total I've written. If I go back to that's how many articles I've written. If I go back to like how many I wrote, 3 or 4 years in, these are terrible articles. This one here is a movie themed article about search called Die Hard SEO. That's a crappy article. This one here, it's like just weird little, I'm scrolling through like things I wrote 15 years ago. And so the same as anything, right? It's just,
you get better at it as you.
Sucking is the first step toward being good at something, right?
Okay. That's a huge take. That's a huge point. Don't try and be perfect at something right from the beginning. If you're going to suck, just suck.
And keep going. Yeah. And learn and listen and keep adapting and keep, but I write every day. Most of us do. It's hard. I agonize over things, especially email subject lines. Boy, if I could be the best at one thing in life, being a dad or a spouse, I have to put at the top. But one thing in marketing, it'd be like
email subject lines.
Oh, they're so hard. That's high stakes. You get one shot. You can test it, but you only get a couple of variants, even if you're testing. Yeah, that you can't unsend it. If you write an article that gets medium results and you want to improve it, just log in and improve it. Yeah. Right. Or you post something in social media, falls flat, you hear crickets. Who cares? You can just post it again the next day. But something doesn't rank, go rewrite it. Email subject lines, I think, are the emails are high stakes.
It is.
Social is low stakes, high data. Email is high stakes, low data. You got opens and click-throughs, and that's it.
And that's
very tough. Yeah, that's one. I stress over those.
Yeah, I was doing email marketing at the dealership when I was there, and some of the emails that the owner was telling me to write were not what I would write as a marketer, and that was a challenge. But I know exactly what you're saying. What is the key then to effective email marketing? Email subject lines, like shorter, longer? I know the word quick question. I was reading the subject line quick question seems to have a really high open rate, but you can only use that so many times. Like you've got to.
I just wrote a piece about this. It was an update on an old piece. It's it has a bunch of research in it and quotes from some of the top email marketers. Ann Handley, Laya, and Joanna Wiebe, all contributed to this piece of mine, and they shared their rules for them. There's a lot of little things that can make a difference. Short is probably important. Email subject lines get truncated, especially in the mobile inbox. Yeah, just front load it with any provocative words. Use sentence case, not title case, because friends don't send title case subject lines to each other. The sender name.
Wow.
That's from Pep. Yeah. The sender name is probably more important than the subject line anyway. Build trust over time. Make your sender name a person or human. It's
in other words, don't use info at, use John Smith at. Where you're sending from. Is that what you mean?
Not just the email address, but the name. Yeah. So I wouldn't put my company, Orbit Media. No, I put my name. Yeah. People are more likely to open emails that come from a person. Yeah. But there's, there's a lot of little things. The article gets into like which words are effective, subject line length. So I can share that with you, but that's,
and I'll share
that's a tough one.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, what's one big takeaway? I could talk to you for another hour, but I think I'll draw it to a close, and I would love to have you back on the show and talk about other things if you would you'd be so kind to do so, but no pressure whatsoever. What's one big takeaway then you'd want listeners to get from this episode?
Optimize. Well, here's a couple, but I'll do them quickly.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Optimize from the bottom of the funnel. Start with the end of the visitor's journey, because if there's something wrong down there, nothing else is going to help. Yeah. Don't target key phrases unless you have a realistic chance of ranking. So you got to spend $120 a month to get a tool that'll show you keyword difficulty based on your level of authority. Yeah. Also, just these things take reps. Just keep going. It takes a long time. I think content marketing in many ways is like a flywheel. All of the successes are cumulative. Links improve search, subscribes improve email, followers improve social. So you just keep going. Always collaborate with influencers. Never write an article without a contributor quote. Always think about repurposing. live events and books are examples of things that have really informed our blog. But ultimately, be vulnerable, be a human, be a person, put faces in your marketing. Every page on your website should have a face. Send your email from a person. Put yourself out there, just the way you're doing now, Matt. Keep it real and be collaborative. And I'd say follow you, because you're doing exactly what I'm suggesting.
Well, thank you. I'm just having fun. I don't even look at this as a job. It's just fun. Well, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. How can our audience or viewers connect with you, viewers and listeners connect with you online if they want to do so?
I write an article once every 2 weeks. It's at orbitmedia.com. That's my frequency. That's as much as I ever publish. I've never published more than once every 2 weeks. So orbitmedia.com. Yep, that's it. Okay. If you want my latest, that's where I publish my latest. Okay. LinkedIn is my best social network. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And then the book you mentioned, version 6 is out in October. You can find it on Amazon. It's called Content Chemistry, or buy it wherever you'd like. Just find me anywhere.
Yeah. You're on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, you're on Twitter. I'm following you everywhere. But anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I highly recommend people read your book, because it's just in the table of contents that I've looked at and the chapters that I've read before this interview. I can't wait to read the rest of it. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Matt. This was great.